Welcome back to our channel on this beautiful day. We are absolutely thrilled to bring you the latest, most explosive updates from the heart of Los Angeles. The drama is reaching unprecedented heights, and the landscape of our favorite families is about to change forever. Let us dive straight into the shocking revelations that will leave you breathless. The sprawling, opulent walls of the Spencer Mansion have borne witness to countless scandals, power struggles, and heartbreaking betrayals over the decades. But nothing could have prepared its residents for the spectral apparition that just crossed its threshold. The air in Los Angeles has grown thick with an electrifying tension, a suffocating silence that precedes a catastrophic storm, as the impossible has manifested into reality. Luna Nozawa, the young woman whose tragic demise had cast a long, mournful shadow over the city, is not dead. She has returned from the grave, stepping out of the whispers of the past and into the blinding light of the present, bringing with her a revelation that will shatter the foundational pillars of two legacy families. The sheer visual impact of her arrival is enough to paralyze those who bear witness, for she is not the fragile ghost they might have imagined, but a living, breathing woman harboring a monumental secret. As Luna stands in the grand foyer of the Spencer estate, the undeniable truth of her existence is punctuated by the undeniable curve of her silhouette. She is 6 months pregnant. The physical evidence of her survival is inextricably linked to the creation of new life, a profound juxtaposition of death and birth that leaves onlookers reeling in absolute disbelief. The heavy, velvet silence of the mansion is shattered by the rhythmic beating of two hearts where there should have been none. Every glance directed at her is a mixture of terror, awe, and a desperate search for comprehension. How did she survive? Where has she been hiding while the world mourned her? But these agonizing questions are swiftly eclipsed by the most dangerous inquiry of all, the question of paternity that will alter the course of history for everyone involved. With a voice that trembles yet carries the unyielding weight of absolute certainty, Luna delivers the bombshell that will detonate the lives of everyone in her orbit. The child growing within her, the innocent life that has tethered her to this world through months of unimaginable obscurity, belongs to Will Spencer. Those words, hanging in the opulent air of the mansion, are a death knell to the fragile peace that Will had fought so desperately to cultivate. The declaration is not merely a statement of paternity. It is an anchor dropped into the turbulent ocean of Will's life, dragging him down into a suffocating abyss of responsibility, guilt, and inescapable consequence. The ghost of his past has not only returned to haunt him, but has brought forth a legacy that will forever bind them together in a tangled web of duty and despair. For Will Spencer, the universe has suddenly and violently tilted on its axis. He stands paralyzed, caught in the devastating crossfire between a past he thought was buried and a future he was desperately trying to build. The psychological whiplash is excruciating. He is a man who is just beginning to find his footing, a man who had weathered the storm of corporate sabotage and familial manipulation, only to be confronted by a reality that defies all logic. The impending fatherhood crashes down upon him with the force of a tidal wave. He is torn violently and irrevocably between the fundamental, moral duty to the child of his blood and the profound, consuming love he harbors for the woman who holds his heart. The internal conflict is an agonizing battlefield, where every choice he makes will inevitably result in devastating collateral damage to the people he cares about the most. The collateral damage, tragically, begins with Elektra Forrester. For Elektra, Luna's miraculous return and the subsequent paternity revelation are the ultimate, crushing blow to a spirit that has already endured so much emotional turbulence. She had just survived the emotional wreckage orchestrated by her aunt, Ivy Forrester, a calculated campaign of sabotage designed to keep her and Will apart. Elektra had fought through the lies, the manipulation, and the deceit, emerging with a renewed hope that she and Will could finally piece their shattered romance back together. They were on the precipice of a beautiful reunion, standing at the threshold of a promised future. Now, that future has been incinerated in an instant. The emotional agony of watching the man she loves become permanently tethered to another woman by the unbreakable bond of a child is a torment that words can barely capture. Electra is forced to confront a reality where she will always be the outsider in a profoundly complicated family dynamic. The 6-month pregnancy is a ticking clock, a constant, visual reminder of a history Will shares with Luna that Electra can never erase or compete with. Her heart, once swelling with the promise of reconciliation, now shatters into a million irreparable fragments. She is caught in a torturous limbo, loving a man whose primary allegiance must now shift to the mother of his unborn child. The cruelty of this twist of fate is staggering, leaving Electra to navigate a desolate landscape of heartbreak and shattered dreams, wondering if the love they fought so hard to reclaim was doomed from the very beginning by forces entirely out of their control. Hovering in the shadows of this emotional devastation is R.J. Forrester, a man whose obsessive vow to protect Electra has bordered on coercive control. For R.J., Luna's return and Will's impending fatherhood are not tragedies, but the ultimate divine intervention. This catastrophic turn of events provides R.J. with the perfect, unassailable ammunition to finally and permanently sever the bond between Electra and Will. He can now manipulate the narrative with masterful precision, painting Will not just as an unreliable partner, but as a chaotic, destructive force tethered to a scandalous past. R.J.'s psychological manipulation will intensify, framing himself as the only safe harbor in a storm that was brought upon them. He will exploit Electra's vulnerability, using her devastation to draw her closer to him, blinding her to his own toxic obsession under the guise of unwavering support and protection. Yet, while the romantic entanglement of the younger generation spirals into chaos, a far darker, more sinister terror is taking root across the city. For Melissa Dillon, the news of Luna Nozawa's survival is not a miraculous resurrection, but the terrifying realization of her absolute worst nightmare. Dillon has been living on borrowed time, a woman walking a tightrope over an abyss of her own making. She had convinced herself that the dark, unspeakable secrets of that fateful night were buried deep within the earth, silenced forever by Luna's supposed death. The sudden, shocking reappearance of the woman she thought was gone forever sends a paralyzing jolt of pure, unadulterated terror through Dillon's veins. Her breath catches in her throat, her pulse pounding a frantic rhythm of impending doom against her temples. The memories of that fateful night, the night that altered the trajectory of all their lives, come rushing back to assault Dillon's fragile psyche. She had woven a complex tapestry of lies and deceit to protect herself, to ensure that her role in the tragedy remained hidden in the shadows. She had built a new life, securing a coveted position at Forrester Creations, desperate to distance herself from the darkness of her past. But the past, it seems, refuses to remain buried. Luna's return is the catastrophic unraveling of everything Dillon has fought so ruthlessly to protect. The realization that Luna is alive means that the truth is alive, walking the streets of Los Angeles, capable of speaking the words that could destroy Dillon entirely. The terror that grips Dillon is magnified 1,000-fold by the revelation of Luna's pregnancy. The child growing within Luna is not merely a symbol of new life. It is living, breathing evidence of a timeline that Dillon has desperately tried to obscure. The baby is a biological clock that threatens to expose the exact sequence of events, a tangible piece of proof that could unravel Dillon's carefully constructed alibis. To Dillon, the unborn child is a terrifying beacon, drawing the scrutinizing eyes of the authorities and the Forrester family directly toward her hidden sins. The sheer existence of this child is a loaded weapon pointed directly at Dillon's freedom, a threat so immense that it threatens to consume her entirely. The stakes for Melissa Dillon have never been higher. This is no longer merely about preserving her career or maintaining her reputation. This is a desperate, primal fight for her very freedom. The secrets she harbors about Luna's disappearance are severe enough to warrant criminal charges, and the prospect of facing the cold, unforgiving reality of a prison cell looms over her like a suffocating shroud. Dylan knows that if Luna speaks, if the truth of what truly transpired on that fateful night is brought to light, the walls will close in on her with terrifying speed. The Forrester family, fiercely protective and unforgiving of betrayal, would not hesitate to cast her out, leaving her vulnerable to the full, devastating force of the justice system. Dylan's psychological deterioration is further accelerated by the suffocating pressure she is already enduring. She is a woman cornered, trapped in a sinister blackmail scheme orchestrated by Remy Price, a ghost from her own past who holds the keys to her destruction. Remy's relentless demands and threats of exposure have already pushed Dylan to the absolute brink of her sanity. Now, with Luna's return adding an entirely new, catastrophic layer of danger, Dylan finds herself trapped in a vice grip of terror. She is surrounded by enemies, both known and unknown, her every move scrutinized, her every decision fraught with the potential for absolute ruin. The walls are closing in, and the air is growing impossibly thin. In the face of such overwhelming existential dread, the human mind is capable of rationalizing the unthinkable. Dylan, driven to the edge of madness by the fear of incarceration, must now contemplate how far she is willing to go to ensure her secrets remain buried. The desperation gnawing at her soul threatens to override her moral compass, pushing her toward actions she once would have deemed unimaginable. Will she attempt to silence Luna once again? Will she strike a dark, dangerous bargain with Remy Price to eliminate the threat? The internal conflict raging within Dylan is a terrifying spectacle, a battle between her desperate desire for self-preservation and the lingering remnants of her conscience. She is a woman teetering on the precipice of true villainy, pushed to the brink by the relentless ghosts of her past. The forensic implications of the pregnancy are what truly keep Dylan awake at night, staring into the dark abyss of her own guilt. The moment that child is born, DNA tests will undoubtedly be conducted to confirm Will Spencer's paternity. That medical documentation will cement Luna's timeline, providing irrefutable scientific proof of her whereabouts and interactions leading up to her disappearance. This biological evidence could easily place Dylan at the scene of the crime during that fateful night, destroying the fragile alibi she has relied upon for months. The baby is not just a complication for Will and Electra. For Dylan, it is the ultimate witness, a silent prosecutor growing stronger with every passing day. Furthermore, the Los Angeles Police Department will undoubtedly reopen the missing persons and presumed homicide case with a ferocious intensity. Detectives will swarm the Forrester and Spencer properties, demanding answers and scrutinizing every individual connected to Luna. Dylan will have to endure intense, grueling interrogations, her every micro-expression analyzed by seasoned investigators looking for a crack in her facade. The psychological toll of maintaining her innocence under the blinding spotlight of a renewed police investigation is a burden she is ill-equipped to carry. The constant paranoia, the fear that a single misstep or a contradictory statement will seal her fate, is driving her toward a catastrophic mental breakdown. Dylan's career at Forrester Creations, the sanctuary she fought so hard to secure, is her only remaining lifeline. It is the one place where she feels a semblance of control and respectability. If she is implicated in Luna's disappearance, Steffi and Ridge Forrester will cast her out immediately, viewing her not just as a liability, but as a monster who deceived their family. The sheer drop from the glamorous heights of high fashion to the bleak, concrete reality of a state penitentiary is a contrast that haunts her every waking moment. She is desperately clinging to the edge of a cliff, feeling her fingers slip as the weight of her sins threatens to pull her down into the darkness forever. The shockwaves of Luna's return will reverberate far beyond the immediate circle of Will, Electra, and Dylan. The entire landscape of Los Angeles will be irrevocably altered by this singular, seismic event. For the Spencer family, the arrival of a new heir under such scandalous and mysterious circumstances will ignite a firestorm of media scrutiny and internal power struggles. Bill Spencer, a man who thrives on control and dominance, will undoubtedly seek to manage the narrative, using his vast resources to protect his son and his legacy. But even the great Bill Spencer may find himself outmatched by the unpredictable, chaotic nature of Luna's reappearance and the dark secrets she brings with her. The Forrester family, too, will find themselves drawn into the vortex of this unfolding tragedy. Ridge and Steffi, already grappling with their own corporate warfare and internal divisions, will be forced to confront the fallout of Will's impending fatherhood and the devastating impact it has on Elektra. The protective instincts of the Forrester clan will be activated, leading to inevitable clashes with the Spencers as they seek to shield Elektra from further heartbreak. The delicate, fragile balance of power between the two legacy families will be tested like never before, threatening to ignite a corporate and personal war that could leave both empires in absolute ruins. Ultimately, the return of Luna Nozawa is a masterclass in dramatic storytelling, a narrative explosion that forces every character to confront their deepest fears, their darkest secrets, and their most profound vulnerabilities. Will Spencer must navigate the treacherous waters of duty and love, knowing that every choice he makes will break a heart and alter a destiny. Elektra Forrester must find the strength to survive the ultimate betrayal of fate, while fending off the manipulative advances of a man who claims to protect her, but only seeks to possess her. And Melissa Dillon must fight a desperate, terrifying battle for her very freedom, knowing that the ghost she thought she had buried has returned to drag her into the unforgiving light of justice. The stage is set for a saga of epic proportions, a tale of love, lies, and the inescapable, unforgiving nature of the past. The drama is only just beginning, and the